Hey guys, welcome to the final day of our 11-day detox. I hope that the couple-day break was helpful for you as you've been shifting so much energy and integrating a lot of new programs. I wanted to remind you to make sure to drink a lot of water, especially if you've actually been doing the work. And also, any program that you've shifted out, any old belief that has come to the surface to be cleared, that you've shifted out of your consciousness or out of your electromagnetic field, I want you to make sure you replace it with a new belief, with a new affirmation, with a new program. Because if you leave a void, usually what we shifted out comes back, and it comes back with a force. Because the law of the universe is that voids will be filled. Anywhere there's empty space, something will fill it, because that empty space is calling something to it. It's like a womb. And so I want you to just make sure you're diligent about your thoughts. And a piece of advice for this next part of your journey after this class ends is to really work on your affirmations, saying them all the time and doing things, taking actions that support whatever new beliefs that you've created in place of your old ones. Because that's how we form beliefs, is we take action on our beliefs. So just in the same way that your negative beliefs about yourself and others have caused you to take actions towards yourself and others that may not have been beneficial, when we change those beliefs, we take action to support our new beliefs that are beneficial. And that's how we start cultivating trust with ourselves, because our mind and our body say, our body basically says, this thought actually feels good. It's bringing me more health. It's bringing me more energy. Whereas when we have beliefs that are detrimental, it drains the body and hurts the body and keeps energy stagnant in the body. And that's often why the body acts out in sickness and everything. And then we treat the body like it's doing something wrong, and we put it through these intense programs and diets and exercise programs because we're trying to beat it into submission, because the body is reflecting the program always. But the truth of the matter is, it is an important time to be very good to the body. Yes, it's good to work out and eat healthy and all those things, but it's important not to do anything extreme. And often we do extreme things when things aren't going well for us. And so we feel like we have to do something very extreme. And I say that to just be aware of your body, because the whole entire objective of this 11-day detox is to not only clear out old stagnant energy that's blocking manifestation, but more importantly, to start developing trust within our Trinity, within the relationship between our body, our mind, and our heart. Because when those three things are communicating and harmonizing together and trust each other, that's when we become master creators. That's when we start to feel safe within our creative abilities. And that's when we start to realize how much the external world is merely a reflection of us, not our master. And so I wanted to say that before I give you the last bit of information for this class. And I just want you to be really good to yourself. So drink lots of water, sleep if you need to sleep, rest if you need to rest, go on walks if you need to be in nature. And I really think nature, I don't even think I've emphasized this enough at all. And that is that it's really important to be in nature. Nature helps us transmute our energy, and especially negative energy. So if you've been doing a lot of shifting, get out in nature. Even if it's cold where you are, bundle up and just breathe in the fresh air, even if you're outside for 5 minutes. If you're in a space where you can put your bare feet on the ground, if you can be in the forest or in the mountains or near the ocean, do it. Get in nature, because nature will really help you transmute all this energy that you've been bringing to the surface. And if for some reason it's too difficult, if you live in a city, or if it's too difficult to get outside, take a bath with salt water, like different salts or crystals in your bath. Use crystal therapy, as I said, use color therapy, anything that helps you soothe, self-soothing and feeling better. And I just can't emphasize that enough, because, like I said, we tend to be really hard on ourselves and put ourselves through these really strict regimes. And remember, that's when the mind is in control. If your mind's telling you what I should do is fast for 5 days, or what I should do is work out in this really intense way, or what I should do. Try to pay attention to if it's your mind doing it because it's something you heard and other people do it and whatever, or if your discernment. And discernment involves connecting to how the body actually feels. If your discernment is saying, no, don't do it. For me, in my past, I used to work out really hard, and I would just do intense workouts because it felt really good. I loved the endorphins. But especially in the more recent year or two, as I've been doing a lot of deeper emotional work, my body just says to me, please, 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 please be gentle. Please be gentle. And I actually did a lot of damage to my thyroid and my adrenals when I didn't listen to that. And that is a common thing I've found amongst empaths and highly sensitive people, is we tend to have a lot of strain on our thyroid and our adrenals because that's the energy of the body. And often when we're transmuting a lot of emotional energy and we're picking up a lot of energy, our body is working extra hard as it is. And so think of ways that you can be gentle to your body. And remember, if you're in that category of someone who struggles with adrenal issues, adrenal fatigue, and or thyroid issues, when you work out too hard, it blows those capacities out. And if you do any research on it, it'll tell you, do not do hard workouts if you have adrenal fatigue or if you have thyroid issues. So I just felt like I wanted to say that because I know it can be easy when emotions are coming up or things from the past are coming up. Our tendency is to try to run from them and distract ourselves. And one of those ways in which we do that is exercise. And that's one of those ways that we can unknowingly do damage to ourselves because, exercise is good for you. But just like anything, it requires discernment. I hope if you've gotten anything from this class, you really get that there's not just one size fits all. This is good for everyone across the board, and this is bad for everyone across the board. One man's medicine is another man's poison. So the trick to health and truly vibrant energy flowing through your body is discernment, is really tuning in. And like I said, establishing a communication that's very clear between your body, your mind, and your heart. And the more you tune in through the heart, the more this will become second nature to you. We only struggle with this because we've been trained to be out of alignment. The whole system and the entire matrix of lack is built to keep us out of touch with our discernment. Because if we're discerning, then we don't have to rely on a system outside of us. But if we go on autopilot, then we have to rely on the program. So today I just want to give you some final thoughts and information about the connection and synergy between the crown chakra and the root chakra. And then I'm going to give you some meditation suggestions like I did in the last video. And what I want you to do is do the meditation on your own again. I felt like that was really important because we each have our own things that want to come through, and I feel like I don't want to interrupt that at all. So I'm going to give you a general outline, some suggestions to do for your final visualization meditation, and you can feel free to take it where you want to go with that. Now, I just want to say that this class will be uploaded when we're finished here. I'm going to be making some finalizing touches on it, and then it's going to be put into my new website that's password protected, and it's no longer going to be available right now. Like I said in the emails, it's not really secure. You could share this information with people, and I really appreciate that you guys haven't been doing that and just respecting the people who paid for the class. But anyway, all of this will be secure, and I will add a final meditation in. So in case you guys want that option, in the final version, you'll have it. And you all have access to the final version of this course. So let's go a little bit deeper into the relationship between the crown chakra and the root chakra, because this is actually really cool energy. And as we've talked about, the upper and lower chakras reflect each other, and they just reflect each other in different ways. So when you think about the root chakra, as I said in the last video that I sent you from my live in the Spell of Astronomical Abundance, the root chakra is really reflective of our programming and the collective programming, and specifically the programming that we are expressing within our DNA. Our hearts are the present moment. Our hearts are this energy and the spirit for which we translate and experience that program. And when our crown chakra is open, what that does is give us, the mind, access to infinite amount of realities, infinite amount of potentials. The mind needs that, because if the mind is enslaved, that's how we get trapped. That's how we get trapped in false realities and false matrices, and we can get overrun and enslaved, or just go on autopilot. And when we're on autopilot, our energy is being utilized for things that we're not consciously aware of. It's being utilized to support a matrix that is ultimately lowering the frequency on the planet. And it's that self-sabotage, self-destructive energy. And so the importance of keeping our crown chakra open cannot be overstated, because what we're saying when we say keep the crown chakra open is keep your mind free. That way you never entrap it. The crown chakra connects us to all things outside of our current reality and our current storylines. It's basically like continually getting automatic updates, So when a program becomes no longer useful, or it starts being detrimental to us, we can get a new program. We can upgrade. We can constantly upgrade, because there is no end to the mind, and there's no end to consciousness. There's no end to energy. And there's an infinite amount of realities, an infinite amount of timelines. And we are connected to all things. So just imagining that crown chakra open and that light continuing to pour into our bodies with always fresh energy, always open, new, life-giving energy. And this ultimately is the connection to source, the same source that we can connect to from our heart. But when we drop into the center of our heart and connect to source that way, we're experiencing source directly through our most intimate chamber. It speaks to us in the most intimate of ways, in the most personal of ways. Whereas when our crown chakra is open, source can pour down through us. And it's not so personal as much as it is universal. It's universal in the sense that it helps us continually be in an energy that is good for the whole, if that makes sense. That helps us not be taken over by whatever's going on externally, if that makes sense. It has to do really with the collective matrix. And it's important that we continually allow new energy to flow into our electromagnetic field from the crown chakra, within and inside of our body through all of our centers, because that's how we continually refresh and upgrade our programming. So I want you to think of this. I call it astral gaming, and I'm going to be going a lot more into this whole concept of astral gaming and astral hacking this year. So stay tuned for all my new stuff. But this is where we can have fun, because you know how I've said that the problem with duality and the problem with these either or scenarios that we constantly get confronted with in the lack matrix, like we either do this or this happens, or here's your two options and these are your only two options. And we constantly the mind likes to put ourselves in, or the brain, I should say, put us in these either or scenarios that have to do with duality, black and white. But when you start realizing those aren't the only options, and that you don't actually have to choose that, you can start to be a lot more creative in what you do with your energy, because we're no longer pouring our energy into these either or scenarios. And the problem with those either or scenarios is it traps people into black and white thinking. So we're not creative. And in order to solve any problem, especially the big ones that feel insurmountable, we have to be creative. And it's just that most people aren't thinking in those creative streams. And so the more of us that get very, very creative, just allow our spirit to play, we will get out of these either or scenarios so much quicker. And we literally withdraw our energy from that sense of duality, which weakens the signal of duality, the more people that do it in terms of in the collective. But all that really matters is what you do with your energy, because your energy is self-sustaining. And the more you fuel any certain program, the more of a match you'll be. And you can literally quantum leap to a whole nother reality. So when we start thinking of ourselves as creators, and we understand that it's about our resonance, and we start really getting a hold of our resonance and understanding how to shift it and how to control it, how to turn up the volume in certain things and turn down the volume on certain things and really shift our consciousness. And it's really about taking authority over our thoughts and authority over our electromagnetic field. When we start realizing that we are the only ones that have authority over our personal electromagnetic field, and you've been given stewardship over your life force and over this body and over this expression, and you can shift any way you want. Once you realize you don't have to play the war game, you don't have to be in darkness, well, what do? Because we want to still live and we want to create. And the interesting thing about lack is it gives us a lot of contrast to sift around. But when we start realizing, okay, I've had enough contrast in the war paradigm, I don't want to hurt anymore, and I don't want to cause any more trauma because I understand logically what that will do if I continue to participate in it, aka ultimate self-destruction. Well, then what do I do with that energy? And when we think about the crown chakra and the root chakra being our ability to be connected both to the program and the reality in this DNA and to infinite realities and infinite timelines, and we can start using these energies to shift and upgrade our program, we can start doing what I call astral hacking and astral gaming. Meaning, the astral realm is the subconscious reality in which we're all creating within. And as we've talked about, 95% of what's going on in the astrals is outside of our conscious minds because we are not consciously paying attention to it. And not necessarily that we need to, but when the program starts taking over, it's time to go inside the astrals and be like, okay, where am I? Where is there a stronghold? Where is there a virus in the program that I need to take out? Now, I don't mean this in a war paradigm. However, astral hacking, to me, is just like being a computer hacker. You hack into the program and you shift it. And you're allowed to do this in your own programming. But what happens when you do this in your own programming, you're connected to the whole. You're connected to all things. And some of us, especially when you're really powerful, and I particularly think empaths who are very powerful because you don't realize how much energy you hold and transmute, you, by unconsciously participating in some of these programs, you are part of a stronghold. You are literally one of the principalities in some of the strongholds that keep people enslaved. And so the cool part about astral hacking, when you go into your own subconscious programming and shift it, is that you start taking out strongholds. You start dissolving strongholds that are in the collective, and a space that you may have really held. When these beliefs, particularly when you hold a very strong belief that you don't have worth, and you hold a very strong belief that humans are bad or that you're bad and that there's not enough, you are strongly participating and holding energy in these programs, these virus programs of self-destruct for humanity. So when you shift that, because you transmute such a tremendous amount of energy, all of a sudden it actually majorly shifts the collective in ways you don't even know. And it may not be apparent right away, but it's going to be. And when we start realizing that pretty much all of our power is in the astrals, it's in what we do in the pre-manifested realms, in the realm of causality, in the realm of thought forms, that's when we start really cultivating a lot of power. And here's the coolest part of all, is not a lot of people work in this area. You have the people who are in the know, that have always been in the know, and that have always held this knowledge and tried to keep it hidden from the rest of us, that have consciously been doing work in this area for a long time and have very powerful strongholds for their own agendas. And then you have 90% of humans just living their life haphazardly doing this, not even realizing how much they're participating in the collective matrix. So the fun part is when we start waking up, it's not about going to war with anyone. It's like, how can we have fun? How can we play? How Jesus said, if you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must do it like a child. I don't know what you did when you were a kid, but I remember playing night games. It was one of my absolute favorite things to do as a kid. All the neighborhood kids would get together and we'd wear black, and in the summertime at night, and we would play night games like kick the can or hide and seek or murder in the dark, which sounds so scary, but it really wasn't. And it was one of my absolute favorite things about being a kid. And I feel that same energy. Like, that's what I want to do in the astrals. Like, I want to play night games. Like, let's create in the astrals together. And we're already doing it. But the more of us that kind of consciously connect to, how about let's start astral hacking. Let's start shifting things in the astrals. And that begins with our own self-healing. But often, as you've probably learned in this class, when we start going there, some of it's just really heavy and we can start feeling really serious and really like overwhelmed. And so bringing in an energy of playfulness can be really fun. And here's the great thing about the astrals: you can create anything you want. If you start thinking it, it starts taking form. And so you can put anything in your astral reality that you want. And so what I want to recommend that you do, we already started doing this in the garden that we've all planted our seed, as imagining this garden as let's put angels around it, let's like whatever you want to add to it, making it more and more and more beautiful. And you can imagine your own little, like create your own house, so to speak, within your own astral reality. Create your own astral neighborhood. Create it exactly how you want it to be. Or you can think of this as like your own healing star, your own healing planet. But you create a space that's yours. It's your astral realm, and it's where you want to start allowing for your own ability as a creator to start moving energy in that direction. And that energy is for healing. So allowing yourself to really connect to, okay, what would my ideal reality feel like if I were totally free, like you are? In the astrals, there's no limitation. So it's about really tapping the imagination, being like, what do I want to experience? I'm going to start actually astrally putting it in my astral reality. I'm going to call in the guides I need. I'm going to call in whatever you need. It's instantly there. There's no limitations because we don't have to wait for it to physically take form. We're working in the astrals. And this is also part of playing the 5D game. You can create an avatar. What is your avatar? And like, who are you on the astrals? Like, start creating your astral network. And this is really, really important when you can tune into the version of you that is thriving, and not just thriving in the way so often our ego wants to be like, yeah, I have this much money and I do this and I'm powerful enough where no one can touch me and I'm not vulnerable to anything. That's great, whatever. But I'm talking about the true desires of your heart. If you felt totally safe just to be, most of us think we want certain things only because the world says you should have it, and it gives you a certain, it makes people think a certain way about you if you have these certain symbols. And that's all fine. So if you really want to give yourself those symbols, great. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But I really think it's important to get in touch with your deepest desires, the deepest, deepest ones. And for a lot of us, it's just, I think one of the deepest desires all of us have is to be seen and witnessed and connected with someone or something that truly loves us and sees us and can witness us fully without judgment. And you have that. You can call it your higher self, you can call it your spirit guides, whatever. But consciously connecting with that in the astrals, that aspect of you, and you can start imagining even what would it feel, that kind of connection that you desire for your ultimate lover. And even if you're already married or already partnered or whatever, and if things aren't going well in that marriage or in that connection, don't make it about that physical connection, but start energetically in the astrals connecting to what you want instead of what you don't want. So again, it's using your imagination. Like, what would my ideal relationship feel like? And I don't even mean putting another person there, just thinking of energetically. What would it feel like if I truly felt loved and seen in this marriage or this partnership? What would it feel like if I truly felt like I was totally safe and I didn't have to feel insecure? What would that energy feel like? Start creating that space in the astrals for yourself. And this is not about living in a reality that doesn't exist. Remember, this is the pre-manifested realm. This is thought forms that they all exist. So everything you're thinking exists anyway. And this is doing it consciously. And so what happens when you start connecting with this, I'm not just talking about a far off place. I'm really asking you to tune into your heart and your physical body and ask yourself, what would my physical body feel like if I were in love with my life? Moment by moment by moment. And you can start cultivating that energy in your thoughts, in the thought realm, in the astrals, and allowing those thoughts and that reality to inspire you to your next action. So this is not about putting something really far off in your imagination and then keeping it there like, oh, it's a reality that doesn't exist. I'm talking about bringing it in, calling it in, because this is how you call in your tribe vibe. And you can utilize the tribe vibe energy that we talked about in this class, the energy of your uniqueness and your invincibility through your heart, through the unique expression of your heart. Those are the energies you're cultivating. Like, what would it feel like if that energy, that signal, was more and more and more and more and more powerful in your electromagnetic field? So you become, if you think about your crown chakra open and your root chakra open, connected to the earth, the root chakra connected to the earth, your crown chakra connected to all realities, and those energies moving in and through you all the time in a way that's flowing freely, and it's being translated through your other chakras. It's being translated through your unique expression, through your heart's desires, through that childlike ability to just move towards what you truly are interested in. And it can change moment by moment by moment. And one of the hangups I feel like we get in as adults is when you say, oh, what do you want to do? It's like we think of like, what do I want to do with my life? I have to make this big decision about what I do with my life. And then I have to figure out the how. And then I have to start making all these steps and go to school. And you're exhausted before you even are done with it. And I feel like we've gotten completely out of touch with what do you want to do in this moment? What feels good? What would be fun? Let's play. Let's play. Do you remember going to your friend's house and just knocking on the door and saying, can you play? It's like, let's just play. Let's have fun. We need to cultivate the energy of playfulness, because if we want to experience life as our lover, first and foremost, we need to feel like we can play. Because when you're truly in love, you have that playfulness about you, that like friskiness with life, that openness. And it's connected to that arousal I talked about, like that sense of, I love this, I want to do this. This makes me feel alive inside. And it shifts moment by moment by moment. But so often we get stuck in our heads and we get so afraid to do anything because we feel like we have to have the right answer and do the right thing, or we're going to get in trouble, or we're going to cause something bad to happen. And we just really cut ourselves off from life force. And so the energy that I'm asking you to cultivate is like opening up your avatar as your crown chakra opens, and it's filtered through your whole body, and it touches down into your root chakra and reactivates your programming and upgrades it. And then you upgrade that program, and it sends this energy up through the crown chakra into the infinite reality, and then back down and up and back down. That energy of just continual renewal. You're being renewed day by day by day, moment by moment by moment. That is the natural flow of life. Our cells and our body renew all the time. And science has proven that all that aging is and all that death is a program in the cells. It's programmed to do it. And science even says it doesn't have to. Like, we don't understand why it's programmed to do it. If you could change that program, you wouldn't die and you wouldn't age. And we can. It's a matter of touching into the energy of it. We have to feel the energy of it. And that's why Jesus said, if you want to enter the kingdom of God, you have to do it like a child. Children have that constantly renewed energy day by day, and they're not worried about the future. So allowing yourself to play in the astrals, to do this astral gaming, astral hacking, is really about starting to get into your programming and say, no, I'm taking over here. It's no longer going to be on autopilot. I'm going to consciously do as much work here as I can. I'm going to consciously shift my energy. I'm going to consciously activate my tribe vibe, because your personal algorithm of heaven on earth is connected to your tribe. Because we are relational to our core, and our tribe, whether you experience it with physical humans on earth or in the astrals, that you feel astrally supported and astrally connected to a team that loves you and is for you and will protect you and is here for you, all of it. That's how our programming works. That's how what we are works. That's what our tribe does. It's important that you connect to that reality. It's important that you feel into it. And you don't have to worry about the how, just feel into what would it feel like. Your body knows. You know the difference between when you feel safe and when you don't feel safe, when you feel 100% supported and when you don't. And it starts with you, because if your own thoughts are not supporting you, if your own thoughts are self-sabotaging, if your own thoughts are judgmental and critical and hateful and resentful towards yourself and others, then you've got to start there, because that's the only thing you have any power over. You can't control what someone else does or thinks or feels, but you absolutely can control yours. You have a say. And that's what I want this class to end with, is that you have that sense of, I am taking up the only authority that has been given to me. The only task that I've been given in this life is to be a steward over this programming. That's it. And if you've abdicated that to the collective hive mind, you've abdicated your one and only thing that you've been asked to do, which is to have life and have it to the full, and to choose and experience, and then upgrade and shift and move, sift through the contrast and move towards what feels better, what you like. And do not forget about the body in this process. Because in order for you to really be powerful, to step into your power, your individual sovereignty, you've got to feel into your Trinity, into the harmony of your Trinity. What would it feel like if I was not at war with myself, but rather in my Trinity was in love? They trusted each other. It was a mutual trust and a mutual respect and a mutual harmony, like we could actually communicate in love. It's like imagining that perfect family dynamic. You could think of the mind as your father, the heart as your mother, and the body as you. The body is experiencing the conversation that's going on between the heart and the mind. And if the heart and the mind are at war, if the parents are at war, guess what? The most vulnerable person, or the most vulnerable aspect that gets the brunt of that war, is the child, or in this case, the physical body, because the physical body is the newest expression of this programming between the heart and the mind. So really feel into that. What's your ideal family dynamic? How would ideally your mom and dad communicate? How would you want to feel with that energy between your heart, your mind, and you, the body? How would you as the body feel safe? And if you start thinking of the body as the most vulnerable aspect, it'll help you not be so hard on it. The body gets the most abuse. We abuse it with food. We abuse it with drugs. We abuse it with exercise. We abuse it with just stress, being under constant stress, under this idea that's for the best of all, that we're somehow serving ourselves if we act like a slave, if we work so hard and never take a break and all those things. Would you do that to your own child? That's what you're doing to your body. That's what we are doing to our bodies when we don't take it into consideration as the most vulnerable aspect of what we are. But it is our house. It's where we house the program. So if the body starts shutting down, the program dies. That synergy between the heart and the mind doesn't get it's the most physical way, the most tangible way, the most evidential way that we can see the heart and the mind having this conversation is through the expression of the body. And the body is what we identify as human. So think of even all the negative connotations that go around with humans. Humans are bad. Humans are evil. Humans don't give a shit. They're not. Humans have just been under the program of lack and under extreme abuse and under extreme slavery. They are not bad. If humans get the program of abundance, naturally they're going to be good, because the human body wants to feel good. It wants to feel peace. It wants to feel harmony. It wants to play. It wants to create. It wants to enjoy. That is what it's meant for. That is why we're even here, because we wanted to be. So we have got to get out of that program that humans are bad and that we're bad. And it starts there. So I hope this programming has been helpful. I hope this class has been helpful for you. And I want you to end it by going back into that garden and really taking a look again at what you've planted and where is it sprouted, what stage of development is that flower or that plant. It's going to be different for all of us. But I want you to really tune in and have a conversation with that, an energetic conversation with that plant or flower, and just make that commitment that you will continue to cultivate it. You won't yank it up, but you will weed around it. You'll pull the weeds and you'll allow the sunshine, and you will be present. You'll visit it. You'll enjoy the garden. And you'll help cultivate the co-created garden that other souls are doing, that we're planting on this planet, that you'll help continue to cultivate that network of abundance, the tribe vibe energy, and that you'll start tuning into it more and more and more and more. In other words, just make the commitment that this is not your last time in this garden, that you will visit regularly. And like I said, if it feels good, create your own neighborhood there, create your own home, start allowing yourself to really play in the astrals with the intention of bringing as much love and joy and creating heaven on earth, just like a blueprint before a house is created or any sort of building. Has to first be imagined, then it has to be drawn up, and then it's drawn again, and then it's redrawn, and they have to make sure all the measurements work. It's the same sort of a thing. And then eventually they start taking action and actually building it physically, but it starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. And so I just don't want us to underestimate how powerful it is to use our imagination, to use our visualization, and to use our desires to start creating heaven on earth first astrally. Because the more time we spend there, the more we'll tune into that energy of what it feels like to feel safe, to feel like you love your life, to feel like you're doing things that you enjoy, that really wake you up and kind of arouse your soul. That's what I want you to do in the astrals. And know that there's no time and space, so you have as much space as you need. You can literally have acres and acres and acres and acres and acres that are yours. Just take up as much space as you want, as much as you need to feel good, and allow yourself the room you need to grow. And I hope this has been helpful. I'm so excited that you guys went on this journey with me. Like I said, you will have access to this class indefinitely, and there'll be a few goodies added to it when I upload it into my new website. So I hope you guys are doing well. Much love. For those of you who are continuing on into the spell of astronomical abundance, we're going to be moving into the chakra reprogramming, programming, chakra coloring. I'm still trying to really find a good name for this class, but in this class, in our next class, we're going to be really focusing on each individual chakra and doing this astral hacking, this astral gaming in each individual chakra individually. And kind of like, it's like resetting our program. It's like fine tuning. It's like when you take your car for a tune-up. We're going to be fine tuning our resonance and fine tuning our individual chakras, really tuning into that energy and allowing ourselves to tune in, using the energy of each chakra to really tune into heaven on earth. You know, it's like the radio dial where you just kind of move it back and forth until you find the clear station. That's what we're going to be doing with the chakras, and we're going to have fun. And it's really going to be diving deeper into the spell of astronomical abundance. So I'm excited to go forward with you. For those of you who are just taking the 11-day detox, you can still buy the chakra cleanse by itself. You're still not a part. You're not going to be in the Facebook group because that's already sold out, but you can still go along with the material as you've done with this class. So if you want to do that, I'll have registration up for the Chakra Cleanse class by itself. And I hope you guys are doing well. Can't wait to connect. For those of you in the Spell of Astronomical Abundance, we're taking a 4-day break, and then we will move into the Chakra Cleanse. All right, much love.